Okay, sorry, we have to do it again. My computer crashed. So, what did we learn from the lab today? Lab 1. A lot of learnings come from asking what have we learned, so let's do it together. In milestone 1, you know the role of a supervisor and a driver. The driver set it up, creates a new team on GitHub, because it's just a pair, right? Go here, it will say when the supervisor goes to the same link, there are many teams to choose from, you choose your team. That's good, right? You push to GitHub, you push to Heroku. The purpose for GitHub is what? So that your supervisor, your partner, can pull, right? This is just so that your visitors, whoever product owner can test. So you don't pull from Heroku, right? Check it out, right? So it makes sense to have two different things. Okay, so when you change the driver easy on GitHub, it's easy. Git clone, right? Now up here you also know the syntax to add Heroku, add email or something like that, right? Here's a trick. If you type this on your driver's computer, when you change to a second person, this will run secretly under the hood. It will run git remote add Heroku and then the URL of the Heroku, but you don't have to find it. It's there, right? It's smart enough. It runs in the background, okay? So it means you now know Rails console. You can play with the model. You also know that, okay, there's a bit of Rails convention here. Rails convention. You guys talk about this a lot. Model is singular. So this is photo. Controller is plural. So this is photos controller. You see? And view is what? Also plural, but it's lowercase. Right? So it's a little crazy. Right? Partial is singular. So this is photo.html.erb. But it also expects this to be under photos, view/photos, right? Great. Now, when you go into the Rails console, you know .save. What does it return? True or false? If it can save, it returns true. If it cannot, it returns false. Okay? .save bang means if it cannot save, it will crash. Throw an exception. Okay? Now, understand that if you have this folder test/features, in here you have like photos.yaml, comments.yaml. If you have the columns correct, when you run this, it will load it. Okay? But we also learn later we learned that rake, okay, sorry, not just rake anymore, right? RailDB seek may be better because you can write code in Ruby, not just YAML file. So if you want to load data from YAML files, use this way. If you want to load data by Ruby files, then you use this way. Make sense? Okay. This one, again, it's important to pass back and forth so you know how to collaborate as a team. Okay, what else did we learn in milestone 3? Pretty much this part, right? I will put this in milestone 3. Some of us make the mistake of doing Rails generate controller. So how do you do this for Rails generate controller photo? Don't do this. Always use plural. It's just your life is easier. So this gives you photos controller, right? Also photos view. It's empty, right? We also learned something called routes. What is it? Now this one in config.routes, config/routes.rb. In here, if you write one single line, resources, okay, you might see that some people have this, don't use resource, okay, use resources. If you miss the S, you will be in a lot of pain. So, resources photo, what does it do? It gives you the same as this, if you write yourself, okay, remember the partial thing? Same as get photos, this go to photos controller index. That's only one action. I have 7, right? get photo slash ID. This is the variable, right? Params ID. It go to photos show. Do you want to write this? If you from Java, you will write what down here, right? And it's not just get, but you can do post, right? To create something. If you post to photos, if you send a post request to photo, then what? Then it go to photos.create, etc., etc. So it's the same, 7 actions. There's a delete photos, you need ID. Then this go to photos. What? Destroy. There's one thing you need to know. Update is put, but nowadays Rails does patch, and they quite similar. I can explain more next time. But it go to photos.update. You won't miss anything. There's one more get. What? There's an edit, right? That's update. So there's 7 action. So when you go to edit something, yeah, get photos ID edit. It goes to photos edit. Does it make sense? All right. So you also know partial, render partial, right? Now know the Rails convention. Render photos. There's just so much magic in here, right? In generally, you can read the render thing, but you can do render, let's say, a sidebar of your app. Then you can just render sidebar, and you can pass in an argument, something like object blah, hello, something like that, and you can do title here. Then this is standard. It go to underscore sidebar in views slash the current view of the current parent folder of this view file. Okay? If you do this, then you go to view slash sidebar. But if you go to this, then it will go to photos slash underscore sidebar. Does it make sense? So for example, I can do this, share. It means it will look up file in app slash view slash share underscore sidebar dot html dot erb. Make sense? Okay. Anything else that we learned? Share. You know by now how to use the Bootstrap stuff. You can learn that at home. I trust that's okay, right? Let's seek data with Faker. Before that, loop. Understand the loop, right? You never want to put equal here. You just want this to be sometimes you accidentally put an equal, it will print the photos as well because equal is to print. Therefore, there's no equal, right? Okay. So in C, did anyone who did milestone 4 raise your hand? Most of you, right? It's great. So what do we learn in C? We learned that what I wrote up here, right? What is actually down here. So here is called compare loading data from C.RB versus loading data from fixture files, right? Pros and cons. Fixture files can be nice to look at, depends. What else? Faker file, to do it, obviously, you need to do jam Faker. If you only need it in development, then put it in the development group, right? Anything about Faker here that's cool? Anything cool in here? So, you also know that there's a hint thing, right? Your supervisor may tell you to look at the hint. But the hint, down here, it generates the photos as well. So if you do this, then it will not work, right? Because you don't have the relationship. The relationship is down under milestone, the next milestone. All right. So and one more thing in the C file, I want you guys to pay attention to. This is not Ruby, so it's kind of hard to look. One team make a mistake. If I write this in here, so you guys can see, okay? Down here. So for seeding, you see, Ruby is very smart when it comes to hash. What is a hash?
Key value.
Yeah, key value. This one takes a hash, right? If you put it nothing, then it's an empty hash. If you put nothing, it's like this, right? If you give it in comment, what's a column in comment? So username, right? Username, hey, right? You can do that, but because this is so common, Ruby is like, well, you can do that. Is that right? Ruby also say, well, you can also just remove this. So you always pretend you have the hash outside. And it works well as the last argument. So, for example, now you can, if I paste this back, you see there's a hash here, right? Let's look at this whole thing. It means it's invisible, but there's a hash here, right? Some of you thought it's nice to just do that, 1 and a 2. But if you pass in this as 2 hash, right? If you accidentally give that, I think it will create 2 records for you, right? And 1 record is just username and the other record is body. So that's not what you want. So keep everything as just an empty, naked hash, like this. Okay? And by now you know the relationship. Photo has many comments and comment belongs to photo. Is that okay? So who got to this one? One important thing now, important to note in the relationship. Let me copy this. This is actually only in Rails 5, so I have to say it. If not, at home you will be bitten by it and you will be very sad. So when you do belongs to photo, this means photo ID is required. Okay? If you want to create a comment without photo ID, it will die. It will say no, I cannot. But if you want to have photo without parents, right? No, comment without any photo, then you do optional is true. In this case, there's no way you have a comment without photo. Make sense? That is the default in Rails 5. In Rails 4, that's not the default. It means if you create a photo with some comments, when you destroy photo, what happened? Does the comment have some ID that goes to some photo that is not there? It will also crash. So how to prevent that? You tell Rails dependent destroy. It means when you destroy any photos, it destroys all the comments in that photo. So when later you touch that comment, that's okay. Another way, there will be like nullify, you destroy the photo and they turn this photo ID into nil. Something like that. So again, then you need optional down here. So this is a little tricky, right? So remember, put destroy here is better. Most of the time, when you delete a photo, you delete all the comments. Because the comments now make no sense anyway. Right? Okay, any other learning? Any other learning? We're learning the learning about partial, about images. You know how to do that already, right? Yeah? Image tag. Pagination. Who here has done pagination before? A few of you? Okay, so Kaminari is a little easier to use than will paginate. It's just they wrote it later and there are some templates. I actually need to show you this because I just love stealing your time. There's a template. It's harder for you to see, but you can customize the template for Bootstrap. Themes, under this themes here. So then you can generate it. In GitHub, if you want to find your files, you press T and then type the file name. So I think if you find it, yeah, it's here, right? You can find the template here. It supports Bootstrap. If your pagination looks ugly, so you feel free to do it at home. All right? So I think we've done a lot of learning here. If you have any other learning values, let me know. I'll just share this with you guys so you can take a look. Great. Thank you.